Okay, with that, I'm delighted to introduce our speaker today, Chad Klein, with Doorstep Diner Catering. And he's going to tell you about the other business he's involved in and parked right outside right now. If you have not had a chance to check out the videos that he's been producing, are they weekly, Chad, or?
Weekly. Yep,
You know,
every Wednesday.
He's got a video series now, and it's called "What Would What Would Chad Eat, or Will Chad Eat This?" And his team challenges him every week with some either extremely odd food or different food or smelly food or extremely spicy food, and then we get to watch him while his partner Lori laughs hysterically in the background, and for some reason they're very entertaining. And I take I guess it's a perverse pleasure in watching him grimace as he eats some of this food, but we'll let Chad tell you more about that series. And Chad, thank you for being here today.
I appreciate you guys having me. So as Steve said, I'm Chad. I'm one of the three owners of Doorstep Diner Catering. Also, I'm one of the three owners of Country Sliced Ham and Cafe at Meridian Park. We are also the owners of the event space at 5550. So we're kind of a little bit of everything. We like to be involved with things that have to do with food. So I've been to tell you a little bit of where I've been. I've been around Lincoln here for about 18 years now. Started out my career up here with Red Lobster, was there for about 13, 14 years. Spent a lot of time managing that, enjoying the pace, and decided finally got to a point where it's like I'd always, ever since I can remember, I'd always wanted to do something of my own. I wanted to be an owner of something. And lo and behold, I met Lori Fraser and her boyfriend Jeff. And they had started Doorstep Diner Catering about a year and a half or so before, and they were looking at expanding it. So I was currently at that point running a local sandwich shop here in town called Capriati's, and they started kind of talking to me. And I mean, those of you that know Lori know that she's very much a person that when she gets something in her head that's going to happen, it's going to happen. Whether whatever it is, it's going to happen. So she started talking to me about, hey, you should maybe think about coming over here and being a partner with us. And at the time, I mean, I was pretty comfortable. I was doing well with what I was doing. The opportunity arose, and I had to jump. It's what I wanted all my life. I was always a little bit nervous about doing. Saw what they were doing over there and liked what they were doing, saw opportunities. So I took the leap. I sat and talked to my wife about it and just decided, now's the time. I'm not gonna, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it. So like I said, I decided I'd become a partner. And so now we're at 3.5 years, and we took our original, how we described our company was the little company that no one knows, but the people that do know all love it. So in now the 3.5 years, we can't really describe ourselves like that as much anymore, because we've between Lori and I, both of us are pretty loud. So, and both of us are out and about getting to meet people. So we can no longer, I actually just had this conversation with Lori, and we can't really describe ourselves as a little company that nobody knows anymore. And that feels good. What I was brought on to do was to build a team, and because that's been one of my strong suits from early on in my career, is really finding those team members that have something, pulling those positive things out of them and really accentuating that and building off of that. I take a lot of pride in working with team members in food service. Of course, you've got team members there. Most of them are there for a short time, but nothing makes me feel more prideful than when I am working with somebody that has aspirations to do a little bit more, to see them go on to something that's bigger and better than what I started them with, and to have that kind of follow me. So it's amazing to me, like now being up here about 18 years, how many people I run into that, hey, you were my boss at Red Lobster. I was the host when I was 16, and now they're not babies anymore. So um, that's been one of my prides, and I've continued that with Doorstep. I've looked at ways that with our company, how do we expand that? How do we grow a business that we love without killing ourselves? So early on, it was a challenge. It was every day in that kitchen. It was me and Chef Jeff sitting across the table doing all the work together at the same time as Lori at that time was working full-time job and doing Doorstep. So she was doing a lot of the sales. I was doing sales, trying to do all that. Then we realized we had to expand on that. We brought in a person, we brought in another person, we brought in another person. And it got to the point where I was able to finally step away from being day to day in the kitchen with Jeff. Um, and it was a great feel to be able to walk away, because I was talking to Steve before we actually come on. One of the big things that everybody that owners have a challenge with is you always have, you love your business, you know your business, but how do you teach your team to do the business like you do your business? So that's what I've really focused at with myself in teaching others to do the business, to care about the business, to have that, not just look at it as a job. I mean, we have a little sandwich shop. It could easily just be looked at as a job. I want every person in my sandwich shop to actually feel like they own that, to actually feel like they are a part of the success, to get excited about when something happens, to meet those regular clients that come in, know them by name, and they're going to call back and say, your sandwich person, Miranda or Olive or Fab, were just fantastic. They took care of me. They were so polite, and that makes me feel good. Um, Doorstep, on the other hand, it's like I spend a lot of time sitting in an office. I say I have 4 offices. I have my office at Country Slice. I have my office at Doorstep. I have my office at home, and as you can see, I'm sitting in my 4th office right now because being it's April Fool's Day, I was a fool and thought about, hey, I'm going to schedule a meeting on Ham Day where our spiralizer is so loud I won't be able to hear. So I'm going to sit here in my 4th office, which is my car. Do a lot of work driving around talking on the phone in my car. Um, but again, it's all about building your businesses and looking at ways to make things easier. Um, and that Steve kind of mentioned about something else that we started doing there, the What Will Chad Eat series, which completely started as just kind of accidental. It was probably about 2 or 3 months ago. My chef went out, did a delivery, came back, and he had this Pocky one chip challenge package. And I'm sitting in the kitchen. He goes, Chad, you're gonna eat this, right? And I looked at it. I'm a glutton for punishment. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll eat that. And at that same thought, I'm like, Lori and I had been talking about, we she's extremely good with social media, like making sure that people are eyes are on the product. I'm like, Lori, this is an opportunity. Let's film this. Let's get me on there. And so we filmed me eating this chip and punishing myself. It's an extremely hot chip, and it's about how long you can wait. So I told him, I'll eat this chip. I'll go 20 minutes. I made it like 5. My face was just, every pore was just leaking out. It was rough, rough, rough. But after that, I got to thinking, I'm like, that was fun. People actually interacted with it. And at the same point, there was interactive, and I'm going, how can I expand on this? So I had a thought, because I do know quite a few business people around town that they're also looking for ways to get eyes in their product. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to do these weekly. And along with doing them weekly, I'm going to invite another business person in to do this with me. So it really has taken off from then. The first week we did it, I wasn't sure on, like, when we did our initial setup. I was going, I don't know if anybody's actually going to watch this or anything. We had Adam Walters with Virtual C on with us, and I went around to a lot of the small Asian grocery stores and found some unique stuff. I found Baloo, which if anybody doesn't know what Baloo is a fertilized duck egg. So it is actually an egg with a baby, and with a baby inside. So we cooked these up, and we had Adam on, great guest. He was so entertaining. The first time I actually met him was then, but we ate the Baloo and we sat there and talked about business. We tried to make it interactive and entertaining. I think we did okay. But we did that, and it really has just taken off. The every week it's gotten more and more where my team, I know they do this on purpose. They look around and they have started to go, we're not going to let you decide the challenges anymore. We're going to do the challenge. We're going to come up with the challenges and you have to do them. So we've did century eggs. We've did world's hottest ramen. We did spicy snacks and different things. They did Jello molds a few weeks ago that, lo and behold, I had no idea until they opened them, had insects in them. And then the previous week, I did the spiciest wing challenge, which we started with ghost pepper wings. Do not recommend starting a spicy wing challenge with ghost pepper wings and moving up from there. I had Todd Francisco with Allo Communications on with me, and anybody that knows Todd, I guess I didn't know this about Todd beforehand, but he has a gut of steel. He was not even reacting. My face and everything, I was instantly just in misery. It's the first time where I couldn't even talk through most of this. And thankfully, Lori in the background, usually doing her cackling laugh at me, she had to take over talking for me because I was in so much pain. And that pain lasted for about a day, where it was very interesting. So again, we started doing these weekly and they've really grown. People are, of course, we're not gonna add a lot of this stuff. We're not gonna add probably any of it to our menu, but it's gotten to the point where people are waiting for every Wednesday to watch us go live on our Facebook feed at 2:30 to see what kind of punishment they're gonna do. I've truly enjoyed growing those. I have not enjoyed the food, but I'm a sucker for punishment for one, and I like the media. I'm not gonna lie. I really do enjoy anything for business, I always say. So that's kind of what we've been doing with that. And then this week, it with Country Slice, it is Easter week. So we bought this. If anybody knows our story about this, we bought Country Slice Ham and Cafe March 1st of last year. So I mean, we all know, I'm not going to go into all those things, but we all know what happened last March. So buying a new business during all that time was probably one of my biggest challenges to date. And because I remember going home and telling my wife about a few weeks in, just breaking down and thinking, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it through this. We went from where I was taking 40 to 50 calls every day for jobs to I was getting that same amount of calls, but they were all cancellations. And here we were en route to do our best year ever with Doorstep. And also we just bought this new business and we had all this other stuff going on. I have kids in college and I'm going, I can't pay myself anymore. So we one of the things that I will give complete credit to Lori and Jeff, Jeff more so even than Lori, is Jeff is very good at looking ahead at financials and making plans. He made a plan for the most extreme case scenario that we could walk away from that and not lose our jobs, not lose our business, not lose our team. That, again, team is mine. That team, I built this team. I love those people. I don't look at my team as expendable people. I look at each one of them and go, what are their strong suits? What can I do with them? I didn't lose any of them. But just kind of rambling there a little bit, but just going back to that, it's like we put those plans into place and we ended up actually having a pretty decent year. And now this year, we're en route again to do our best year ever. We've got 60 plus weddings on our books. Country Slice is finally at a point where I was able to step away from there and allow my team to do what we hired them to do. Our event space that we have is constantly booked. We're doing well. And all that's just because of planning, for one. Like I said, Jeff is extremely good at looking at financials. Lori, anybody that knows Lori knows that she will not stop until she gets the way she wants things done. And she is just persevered and just hit social media, going out networking, doing all this stuff. And at the same point, I've just really dug down and realized this is what I got to do to make things successful. But during the same time, it's also been a learning curve for me to realize that my family is very important, and I need to be able to run my business and not let my business run me. Because during this beginning of this business, I let it run me. And it was terrifying a lot of times when I think back to how much I put into the business in the beginning there, and didn't pay as much attention to the thing that matters most to me now, is my family. So my wife at home, Yvette, and my three kids, Bryson, Skyly, and Brienne, they're the most important things to me. So I've really had to learn as a business owner that business, you have to take care of business, but if you take care of business and you don't take care of home, you're not going to have any of that when you're not going to have anything to go home to. So I've really learned to respect and appreciate my wife and kids, and anybody that's going into business. Keep that in mind. You're going to put in a ton of hours. You're going to have to put in extra time that you don't always like, but don't forget those people at home that actually matter, because otherwise you may have a successful business, but you're going to be miserable. So other than that, like I said, we are in Easter week, so Easter hams are going out. Still time to order if you all want to get any hams. Nobody's ran out of the ham store yet, saying it's on fire here, so that's a good thing. But really, that's kind of my story and where I'm at. So if you guys have any questions, I'd love to try and answer them best I can here. So.
Okay, questions, anybody for Chad, or perhaps you have a food idea that he can try on one of his Wednesdays?
This is Jesse. Would you eat a SCOBY?
I'm not sure what a SCOBY is, but if it's edible, and even some stuff that isn't edible, I will try anything and everything, realistically.
I'll send somebody a message and we'll try to maybe get that worked out. Yeah. So it's a culture. So I mean, yeah, it would be a fun video to do with you.
Yeah. And usually what I say is if somebody's throwing me out an idea, you should probably be the guest on that day too. So
that'd be fun. We could do that. We're in LinkedIn quite a bit. So
absolutely. It's a lot of fun. The reactions, I always go back and rewatch myself just to see how bad it looked. And the reactions that on my face, I'm like, I can't believe I looked that horrible on these. So they're all on our Facebook, all of our past ones. If anybody hasn't seen some of them, definitely take a look at some of those.
Chad, the other thing that crossed my mind as you're doing those, you mentioned your team likes to come up with the challenges. Now it's also kind of a morale builder for your team. They like to see if they can get you on the floor writhing in pain. And so
And they
Oddly
have.
enough, your pain probably helps build the team.
And that's the thing I look at it as also is, you know what, if it entertains my team, if it's entertaining to people and my team, it's making them happy, you know, a little bit of misery. Some of the stuff's gross. Like none of it, absolutely none of this stuff is stuff I'd probably do more than once, but it's doing what it's supposed to do. My team's happy. People are tuning in. They're thinking about Doorstep Diner, even if they're not like thinking about like, oh wow, I got to get some Baloo from Doorstep Diner. The eyes are in the product. When I did one with Renee with True North Technology, they did a blindfold. That was our first one that I didn't know what was what. And my team, they just took a thrill out of giving me big old spoonfuls of everything. Well, they give Renee just little tips of stuff. It was horrible. When I watched it back, I thought I was going to go fire somebody. So I love them. So
Other questions for Chad?
I've got a quick one. I didn't fully understand. You have multiple different shops and businesses and employees. Are those employees like part of a team that bounce around with the different shops, or how does that work?
well, somewhat. We have a couple of them that do work at Country Slice that also work over at Doorstep, and Olive that just started over here. She'll probably eventually do some stuff with Doorstep too. Is the reality is that in the catering business, there's multiple jobs sometimes where like on days where we have like 4 or 5 jobs going out that we need those extra people. So that's where I've also gone back to my other businesses that I've ran and worked at and kind of build off some of those people that were really good to me. I'm like, let's bring in so and so. So yes, they all do kind of work all around different jobs. And that's helped us out because realistically, I couldn't keep as many people on official staff as we need sometimes.
Other questions?
So Chad, what is the toughest part with dealing with employees that have that, when you need that flexibility?
Patience. Yeah, because I mean, there is a lot of our job, our through the catering side especially, is so fluid. We could get a call. I could get a call when I get off to this call that, hey, we want to do something for 150 people in 3 days. And I have to figure out staffing for that. So that's again where I first off look at the normal people that I have working with me. I'll go to them and give them that opportunity to make some extra money. And then after that, I start going down my list of people that are always willing to come work for us, but just do it on a moment's notice. And again, I'm going to go back to my family. My daughter Brienne works for me a lot. My son has worked for me. My youngest, my 14-year-old's come and work for me. And at times, I punish myself by letting my wife come and work for me, which means that I don't have to pay her, but it definitely, I pay in other ways with her. So I'm thankful for her.
Any other questions for Chad?
Chad, you had mentioned your hall that you're renting out for events. Where is that? I'm not familiar with it.
It's actually a little small event space that's in front. It's in front of our kitchen. It's at 5550 South 59th. So we call it the event space at 5550. We got real unique with that name, I know, but it seats 50 people. We have people really like it when they go in there because it's all, there's wide open windows and stuff. We've got curtains and chandeliers. We've got a large screen TV that people can do presentations or do Zoom through. Their catering obviously is very simple because we can do it from right there. Lots of amenities that people look for. So small parties or meetings and stuff like that, we're always doing stuff in there. Does that answer your question?
Okay. Any other questions?
Chad, about how many Easter dinner pre-orders do you normally get?
Well, we're doing, of course, we're doing Easter hams over here, and over at Doorstep, we're doing Easter meals. So this year versus last year, the Easter meals, because the Easter meals are for 4 people. Last year we did a ton of those. This year it's kind of changed, of course, with vaccines and everybody kind of getting together for family stuff.
Uh-oh,
Oh,
right now we can't hear you, Chad.
just one second. Somebody tried to call me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, country sliced. It has been large hams, and we're probably at like about around 300 hams that we're gonna have going out in the next couple days. So it has been extremely, extremely busy, and every holiday here has been a completely different learning curve. I mean, we bought this last year, and then a pandemic happened, so Easter was crazy. We cut our order. We ended up selling out. Thanksgiving, we prepared more. We're like, okay, we're going to be ready. We sold out, and it was a completely different environment. Christmas, it was 2 weeks straight of hams, and we thought we had it figured out. Now Easter this year, we started out, we were like, wow, we're down. We're so down from last year. And in the last 3 days, we have not stopped doing hams. The phone has not stopped ringing in. While I've been sitting here, I've watched like 15 people walk into the store. So it has been crazy, but it's been a different style. It's not small hams, it's big hams, because families are getting together.
Any other questions for Chad?
Yeah, this is Kathy Hill. Chad, have you had any difficulties with supply lines still being down or inconsistent?
Really not a whole lot. I mean, we just started having some issues with paper products and like plastic products because of everything that happened in Texas. Now all of a sudden our plastic products are almost doubling in cost. So that's been a challenge lately, but that's very new issue. As far as like food products and all that, we didn't have too bad of issues. I mean, there was times where it's like we had to wait a little bit longer for stuff, but with the variety of stuff and the quantities we order, it hasn't been too challenging for us.
Any other questions for Chad? Well, Chad, I really appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much. You've got a fascinating pair of businesses. I wish you the best. For those of you, if you're ever looking for a sandwich, check out Country Slice. They have a very unique menu of sandwiches. I love them. I go over there quite often and pick up a sandwich for lunch. They have some really good ones, and you always get a smile with your sandwich. So head over there, buy your Easter ham from them if you haven't yet. And on Wednesdays, tune in and watch Chad eat something disgusting or extremely spicy. You will smile, I can guarantee it. So thank you, Chad, for being here. Join us next week for Bobby Bevins with Harbor Coffee House. Thank you all and have a great holiday weekend.
Thank you.